Hello my YouTube friends! I remember when I first started creating overlays for my live streams. They looked pretty bad and I had no idea what I was doing. The more you create, the better you get for sure. But there are a few tips to create good looking overlays for live streams that I've learned along the way that will help you build some really nice ones fast. So today I'm going to share the 3 tips that I learned to create a good looking overlays easy. So you know what? Let's get to it! We're going to use some different free tools today. The links for all these tools are in the description below, so you can check them out for yourself. The first tip is to have a specific theme in mind. If you're going to be game streaming, you may want to theme your stream to mirror the game. And if you are a gardening channel, you may want to have a gardening theme. Once you decide on your theme, you can flesh it out by picking your colors. Now, I know this sounds easy, but it's really not as easy as you'd think, so let me show you how I do it. So if you have a specific game as your main theme, the easiest thing to do is go out and put in the game name and select images, and then just find a game that kind of shows off the main color palette. And you could tell with Fortnite, you've kind of got these purples and greens right here. You can see it all in their little logo. And you can kind of decide how you want to go with that color palette. The point is just grab an image that you really like and go ahead and download it. Now for those of us who might be doing something other than gaming, well, you can use this cool little tool in Canva to put together your color palette. So let's say we have a channel on gardening. We can basically put in gardening and backyard gardening, and it's going to kind of give us some color combinations that would probably work with that. Now here's the main one that it gives you, which is fine. So let's just go with that one for fun. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just grab our snipping tool. We'll just get a new one and we're going to just snip this here. There we go. We can save this color palette, and it's probably good too because you're going to use this in the future. So we'll just go with color, make sure it goes somewhere we're going to be able to find it, and click save. So now we've got a color palette here for our gardening theme, and of course if we're doing Fortnite or something, we've got that. Now that we have our color theme selected, we're in pretty good shape. Now that we have our color palette chosen, we need to decide what scenes we want so we can figure out the layout. Now the tip for this is to keep it simple. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. If you have streams that you like, that you watch, you can use the same layout. There is usually a reason why they use it, and if it's good for them, then it probably means it works. You want to decide what elements you're going to need in each scene and where they should go. And to do that, we're going to mock up a layout. Real quick, this is the main scene on my live stream, and there are a lot of different elements. You can see, we've got my name up here. We've got this little sponsor rotator. We've got all above there, we have another crawler that shows the chat commands that you can use to do different stuff on my stream. Down below, we have our latest subscriber, latest super chat, and latest donation with labels that change all the time. Now this little black bar right below my live stream also has a ticker that shows the chat that's active. So that little black bar when I'm live streaming is going to be filled with the chat that's going on. And then of course we have all kinds of effects. When you look down here into sources, we have all kinds of effects that can happen on the screen and everything else. But you can see that it uses my common colors. My camera already has all the blue in it. I use a lot of the yellows in my thing, so we're using that common thing. And then of course the gray. Those are mainly my color palette, and it's really important just to kind of get your layout right, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. Alright, so now we know what scenes we want, and we want to go ahead and set up our layout. Now you can really do this directly in OBS, or you can do it in an image editing software. It's really up to you and what you want to do with your overlay. But just doing it in OBS will give you a pretty good idea of how it's going to work, and you can kind of see it in action. So what I'm going to do is rename this, and we'll call this one main. It'll just kind of be the talking head scene. And let's go ahead and do a wait scene. Since the wait scene and the be right back scene and the end of the stream scene are kind of the same, we're going to go ahead and just leave one. And we can do the layout for that and then just duplicate it to create the other scenes. So we've got a main scene, a wait scene. The other one you may have is like a game scene. You could also have a guest scene. And so let's go ahead and add a guest scene. So now we've got 4 different scenes, and we'll start out with our main scene. And the easiest way to do this, what I'm going to do is go ahead and just bring in my image for my color palette to make it really easy to figure out how this is going to work. So we'll go into our downloads and we'll just bring in our color palette, and there we go. So now we have it physically in the scene. For our main scene, we're going to have obviously a camera. We'll possibly have some chat, maybe some stream labels somewhere. We could even have some sort of a sponsor rotator or something like that. The first thing I kind of want to do is lay out our background. So I'm going to just use, in this case, some color sources to lay this out. It just makes it easy. So we'll go ahead and choose a color source. What I'm going to do is shrink this down for the time being so we can go and select color. And let's say that we want our background color to be this tan. So we'll just select the tan, click OK, and now we've got a tan background for our stream at the moment. We'll just embiggen that, and we'll move our color source down there. And so we want to lay out a location where we're gonna have our chat. So let's go ahead and click the plus, and we'll go to our color source once again. And you probably want to name these. So let's call this chat. The first one is background. And what we'll do is just shrink this down so we can get our color palette. And we're going to go with the gray this time for our chat and click OK. It's kind of gray. And then what I'm going to do here, we'll click OK on that. And what I'm going to do is just make that big, and then we're going to crop this by holding the Alt key and just dragging it over. And so that is going to be our outline right there. So now we've got our chat and we have our background. Let's do a screen for our camera. So I'm going to go ahead and click the color source, and we're going to go and call this cam. Click OK, and we'll move this over here. Get a look at our colors again, and we'll use the green color here. And what we want to do is just place this camera where we're going to want it, and we can choose any of these colors for our texts or anything like that if we're going to have text on here. So in this case, we'll do some stream labels down here on the bottom. So I'll just click the plus, and I'm going to go ahead and use the color source for this as well, and we'll call this labels and click OK. And in this case, I think we'll use one of the secondary colors, but I'm going to use this brown color here for our label boxes just to show us where they're going to be. We can decide whether we like how it looks or not, and we'll click OK. So this would be like latest subscriber, and what I'm going to do is Control C and Control V, and this one would be last tipper. We're going to select this one right here, Control C, Control V, and drag this over here. And this one could be your top donation, Control C and Control V. And we've got one more. And so now we just kind of need to space them out properly. Looks like we've got an extra one. So I'm going to go and remove that. And we just need to kind of space these out properly. And there we go. So in some place like this would be where you might put your actual text, or you could have some sort of a scroll through here, or something like this. You could do some sort of rotating scroll with sponsors or something like that. So there's a lot of different things you could do. You could even just fill up this space by just putting these central and keeping it really simple. What I would probably do is move this down here and put some sort of a sponsorship animation or scroll up here at the top. What I'm going to do is just kind of designate the space for that. You can definitely do fine tuning by just using the arrow keys right here to fine tune the position and location of these boxes. But at the end of the day, we're basically just trying out a layout. We're trying to get a layout finalized that we think looks good for our main screen. So what I would probably do here, I'm going to bring this up here, and it's going to be a designator for our scroll for our sponsors. And I'm just going to hold down the Alt key and bring this up. And then over on this side, I would probably do some text. So what I would do here, and you don't have to, you could use your logo or whatever. In this case, I'm just going to put some text in here. All we have to do is go and select the font that we want to use and click OK. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and select the color. And let's go with a color picker. We're going to select that, click OK. And there we go. Now we just got to size it up and put it in here. So now we've got the basics for our main scene. We've got our camera here. We've got a rotating logo thing for our sponsors up here. We've got our stream labels down here. And we have over here our chat. And we can definitely kind of modify this up like this and then move it down so that we see our background. So now you can basically decide what you want your background to look like. You know, if we like how the colors look, great. If maybe this color palette isn't working for you, you can change it up. But you could theoretically use this directly as your overlay. You can add text on here that could be the green or the blue color right onto here so that it would all look good. You can use the brown text as your chat text. You can just place your camera directly over this green bar right here. And you can even place your sponsor rotator right over this box. So you can create images using AI or whatever to replace each one of these using a similar color theme, however you want to do it. But I do find that live streams almost always look infinitely better when you come up with a color theme that works right and then you create layout. So then what we would want to do is go ahead and create the wait scene layout with all the elements that we want, our game scene layout with all the elements that we want, and then a guest scene layout with, using the same process as you have right here. But now you've got a layout that you like that's probably going to work. I work really hard to try to create content that I think you're going to like. Sometimes I hit and sometimes I miss, but honestly, it's really hard to know for sure. And that's where you can really help me out. If you like the information in this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if it's not your cup of tea, it's really no big deal. Just give it a thumbs down. If every single person watching this video gives it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending upon how you feel, it really will help me take my content in a direction that's going to make a lot of people a lot happier. I really do appreciate it. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Hit those buttons and let's get back to the video. Now, you don't really want to put more into your overlay than's necessary. You don't want it to be busy and a big mess. So the third tip is to keep it simple. Build your overlay in parts. You've already decided on the layout. Now make it easy on yourself and work on one part at a time. Design an overall background and then build the sections on top. And to build those sections, you can use AI or you could even just use the simple colors. Then add each section one at a time to build out the things that you want. Now I have a video for almost every piece that you could possibly want to add, like the sponsor spinner and the stream labels, as well as creating animated elements like boxes and backgrounds, so you can check those videos out right here. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.